everyone, welcome to the Paper Pad, or welcome back if you're returning. It's nice to have you here. My name's Hannah, and today I have 14 tips for doing school at home that I've learned through my years of being homeschooled. Whether you're in school part-time, taking online classes, or working from a textbook, your school year is most likely going to be focused on work at home. That's why I recommend you have a designated workspace. Keep it clean so your brain doesn't have to process as much information, which will help you focus on what you're doing. Also make it pretty. You want it to be a nice place to be in. Now, I've heard from some people that they like to find different spots around the house so they can move around for each subject. Maybe you can put some earbuds in or noise-canceling headphones so you can work in an open space without distractions from your family as they go in and out. Some people might like the accountability of being in the open as well. It's an added bonus. As for me, I prefer to work at my desk and have that same spot that I go to every day. Find a good study playlist. Chances are you already have one, but if you find music too distracting, you can always use instrumental songs. I have a movie track playlist, which I love to study to. There's nothing like working a math problem to the Mission Impossible theme. You can also find a themed ambiance here on YouTube that gives a lovely aesthetic picture with instrumental music and background noise. For example, I use the Harry Potter common rooms a lot. I would be a Ravenclaw most likely, so I enjoy the mystic, sometimes Celtic sounding music with the rainfall in this particular one that I use, but I also like to go over to the Hufflepuff common room some days and listen to the bird song in that one. Get dressed. I think the most common question I get as a homeschooler is whether I get to stay in my PJs all day, and for the most part, the answer is yes. Now, I'm not saying you need to get dressed like this, however, I've learned the importance of getting dressed for the day to play the part in a sense. It makes me more productive in a day and it's easier to focus. Plus, you'll just feel cleaner and more put together, which will make you happier with yourself. After the year we've all had, let's not give ourselves one more reason to feel down. Put in a little effort, wear something casual, and get that little accomplishment done each morning. Give yourself a designated time to eat. If you struggle with time management, then you'll likely get carried away when you break for lunch, especially if you don't have an online class to call you back to school. Give yourself a designated time to eat breakfast and lunch through the day, and a subject to do after you finish that will keep you disciplined. Or on the flip side, I often find that I forget to eat lunch at all when I'm busy at work. I'll make myself another coffee, and before I know it, it's 4 o'clock and I've not eaten since breakfast. At least remember to set an alarm so you can have the break and eat something, or else you won't be able to focus and you'll find yourself frustrated at these little things for no reason. This one's pretty basic, I think. If you take a media break, set a timer for yourself so you don't get carried away. Don't think of it as, I don't get more time because I have to get back to school, because you don't. Most likely you could find a way to sit on your phone for an hour if you wanted to, but you'd likely get in trouble, be behind on an assignment, or regret it in one shape, way, or form. So instead, think of it as another goal. Take the opportunity to be proud of how controlled you are. Give yourself a pat on the back for setting a goal and following through with it. It's the quickest way you give yourself an enjoyable task that will be a bit of a brain break, but at the end you still would have accomplished the rewarding feeling of doing what you said you would do. Stay healthy. Now, I know I sound like a broken record because everyone talks about this, but get good sleep, eat brain food, drink plenty of water, walk around, and move your body. It took me 15 minutes to find these quotes on how taking care of yourself actually affects your academic performance, so just do it. Use a planner. Whether it's a school planner or not, having a way to view the week or month as a whole, see deadlines, upcoming projects, and have a clear view of how your daily tasks stack up upon each other is crucial. Will what you choose to do today affect you next week? Will it throw off the month? A planner also allows you to reverse engineer a project and break your work down into bite-sized daily pieces, so you're never left wondering what you should be doing. Hello, me again. So for this next section, I'm just going to rapid fire off a couple of recommendations I got when I asked around to some of my friends. Now, a lot of them just reaffirmed points that I already had, but here are a couple of different ideas for you to consider as well. Now, the first tip was to know yourself. Now, this is by far the most important. You're either one of two kinds of people. You're going to be the kind of person that needs to eat the frog, which means do the hardest thing first. Just go ahead and do it and have it done so it doesn't hang over your head for the rest of the day. Or you're the second kind of person who needs to do a couple of simple tasks and easier subjects to work themselves up to the harder ones. I've tried both of these methods, and I found that I'm definitely the second kind of person, although I have tried being the eat the frog person. So for a long time, I would try having my math done before 9 a.m. and it felt great on the days that I accomplished it, but I found that I couldn't do it consistently because I would procrastinate and try and do basically anything other than that. Now I've found that I actually perform better in math whenever I give myself a bit more time to wake up and to have my mind work on some different subjects before I go to my math. I would recommend you start with something kind of medium level difficulty if you're the second kind of person. That way you can still have that sense of productivity, of doing something kind of complex and not just doing the easiest thing first. Save the easiest thing for last and do like medium, hard, easy. Although if you aren't sure which kind of person you are, I recommend you start with doing the hardest one first. That way you can have smooth sailing for the rest of the day. And then after doing that for about a week, you can figure out how it's working for you. Another tip I heard a lot is to use work cycles. Now, a classic work cycle is to do a subject for an hour and then take a 10 to 15 minute break in between. That's generally what I do, but I'm not incredibly structured with it. However, I know that being very structured and having precise work cycles works really well for some people. I also heard a new cycle, which was new to me. Maybe you've heard of it before. Give it a try. I might give it a try this year too. It's to have a 20-minute work cycle, then a 5-minute break, and then you increase both of those timers until at some point you're working from 1 hour on a subject to 1 hour on a subject without a break in between. It's really interesting marathon sort of dynamic, and so maybe if you're one of those people that needs to do the little things and work yourself up to being in a good momentum, that could work for you as well. Another excellent tip is to make sure that you're understanding the material as it comes through. If you're not getting something, that you can look up a YouTube video, you can read a summary, you can find a Quizlet. There are so many great resources to make sure that you're getting the information and actually understanding and comprehending it before you move on, and other concepts start to stack upon that one. So it's really important that you get things the first time. Don't be afraid to spend 15 minutes just making sure you fully understand what's going on. Another good recommendation is that you study with friends. You might not be able to go to a coffee shop to study together in person anymore, but you can always do a Zoom call or a group FaceTime call, and it still has a lot of benefits. You still get to spend time with your friends, you still have that accountability of having someone else there, and then you also have to specifically set apart this time if you're organizing a group of people to be together, which means that you know you're going to have it on a schedule and actually do the work at some point. I also have a little bit of tough love for you from another friend. They said that you shouldn't procrastinate ever. Even if your teacher keeps piling on different assignments, if you let those assignments pile up, it's on you. It's your fault. So don't procrastinate ever, okay? This is the biggest deal. I think all of these have to do with time management. So if you can manage your time really well, then you're going to have a great year. Another thing you should be thinking about along the lines of maximizing your time is whether you can do work in the car. If you have a commute time or somewhere you're going pretty frequently, then I'm sure you could find a way to incorporate schoolwork into that car space. Whether you're listening to an audiobook, or maybe if you don't get very motion sick, you can do laptop work or even some vocabulary words if you're taking a foreign language. Find a way that you can maximize time in the car as well, and it'll be so much easier for when you do get to the house or to your destination to know that you already had that little bit of work done and under your belt. Which leads me into my final point. School is going to be a lot more flexible at home. You might feel like you have less control, but that's really not true. You have more control and a bigger opportunity now than ever. It's easier to choose who you're spending your time with, for example. You can spend more time with family. You can make sure that you strengthen those friendships that you really want to grow and reach out to those people. You can set boundaries with friends that maybe you didn't get along with that great. You can reach out to old friends that you don't normally get to speak to. It's also a great opportunity to build new habits and stronger habits because you're going to be in your home. You can also learn a new hobby or develop an old hobby. If you think about it, in those 10 to 15 minute breaks between your work, you're going to be in your room. So if you want to work on a hobby, if you want to pull out your sketchbook and maybe try and get a little bit better at that this year, then you have the freedom to do that. So don't waste this opportunity. Think about what you can be doing during those breaks. Think about what you can be doing differently that will benefit you instead of all of the horrible things that come from not being in the classroom. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. Maybe send it to a friend who's also doing school at home for the first time. And leave a comment and let me know if you have any different tips that I missed or websites and resources that you go to a lot, because those come in very handy during the school year. Don't forget to check out some of my other crafty content. I'll have a lot more plan with me's and study with me's coming during the school year, so stick around for those. Until next time, this is Hannah signing off.